listening to LOA Recon with the Good Vibe coach Jeanette Ma, where we dissect the ins and outs and the art and science of conscious creation, all intended to amp up your manifesting game. Let's have some fun together. So today I'm feeling big appreciation for another review on the podcast. This one's from Natadru or Natadru, however you pronounce it. I'm loving this comment. Thank you so much for it. It reads, I absolutely love this podcast. It's exactly what I needed to get back in a good headspace and on a positive frequency. That's very much in alignment with our topic for this episode, which is 7 ways to feel better. You know, and in fact, I was going to say, I don't know if I'm missing reviews on other platforms. I know how to find them on iTunes, but this podcast now lives also on Stitcher and TuneIn and a couple of other platforms. I'll have to find out how to look for reviews there, because guess what? I like reviews. I know. Look, that's an exaggeration. But often you hear that, it's your ego. If you're living for compliments, that's a sign that your ego's in charge. Look, I'm a Libra sun. And I do give myself plenty of my own compliments. I'm really, really, really good at that. I don't need to hear them from others, but I sure like it when I do. So I don't want to miss any. Thank you for everyone who leaves a review wherever it's at. Okay, what I wanted to talk about today was 7 ways to feel better. And I want to preface this discussion by saying it is how to feel better. Sometimes feeling better doesn't necessarily mean feeling good, but it means feeling better. It's on our way to good. But sometimes feeling good, we're kind of far away from that. You know, sometimes feeling good is a big ask and it's not a very kind one. It's not something helpful to shoot for, when feeling better is always appropriate. In fact, that's the name of the game in conscious creation. It's finding ways to feel better. And remember how we do that first before we expect the external to change, so then we feel better. We find ways to feel better here and now. Well, this episode is all about how to feel better now when you aren't feeling fab. So the first thing I want to say about that is that it's helpful to do this when we remember that this is how the system works, that it's on us to manage how we feel. It's not that we're out there manifesting perfect circumstances so that we can feel good. It's that we learn how to feel good regardless. That's what conscious creation is. If we're just using our focusing powers, and I have done this, in fact, I did it for many years, where you just focus the external into a way that you think will make you happy, you can change the situation. You know, whatever the reality is, you can affect it simply by focusing it in a different way, but it won't change how you feel, because you're going to feel however you've been practicing. Whatever you've been feeling, stuff out there can't change that. And even if it seems like it does, it's usually pretty brief. It's not very long lasting, because it's an inside job. It's no one else's job to be in charge of how we feel. And that goes for the size of our bank account or the status of our body or our relationships or our work. Whatever it is we think needs to shift before we can feel better, doesn't work that way. That's on us to feel better. So remembering how the system works, that's the first thing I wanted to share, just reminding yourself that feeling better is all you have to do. It's not that we have to figure out how to solve problems. We don't have to take care of whatever business feels like needs to be handled. All we have to do is feel better. That's how life works out. Us finding ways to feel better. And just remembering that often offers relief in itself. We don't have to go solve this, that, or the other issue. All we have to do is relax about it. We don't have to figure it out. We don't have to make it happen. Our well-being isn't dependent on what's happening out there. Just remembering that can dispel some of that heavy energy in itself. So that's my first tip for how to feel better. Just remember how the system works. And we know that feeling better, I love this teaching from Abraham about the vibrational scale or the emotional scale, that when you are like near the bottom of this scale, feeling guilt or depression or disempowerment, those are some pretty low vibrations. Sometimes the way to feel better is to get angry. For those of us who've been trained, you know that anger isn't cool, whether it's from our spiritual teachings or from our parents, girls are supposed to be nice, whatever. Sometimes if we avoid being willing to feel anger, sometimes we stay stuck in those lower vibrations. But feeling better sometimes includes being willing to engage a revenge fantasy. Sometimes that's exactly what the doctor ordered. Or being willing to blame someone else. I'm not saying we have to call them up and do it, but just in our own minds, instead of blaming ourselves, blaming someone else is actually a vibrational improvement. So feeling better, again, it doesn't necessarily mean feeling good. It's not necessarily joy and love and rainbows and unicorns. Sometimes it's a little dark, but it can still be an improvement. You're the only one who knows that. No one can tell you where you're at on the scale or what feels better. So that's why we have to discover it for ourselves and be willing to give ourselves a big playground to play in order to do that really well. Okay, my second tip on how to feel better is to soothe yourself with some better self-talk. That's an easy way of saying just find a better feeling thought. And sometimes that includes trying on a bunch of different ones until we find a thought that does feel better. Kind of think about it like when you go shopping for clothes. Not everyone does this, but whenever I'm shopping with someone, you got to try that on before you just take it home. You get in the dressing room. You don't want to have to bring it back. Not everyone shops that way, but that's sometimes what our finding a better feeling thought process is like. Like you got to try on a couple before you find something that works for you. Because the thoughts that feel better to me, I know this from many coach sessions. When I offer clients thoughts that feel better and they fall flat, it's not getting a foothold with them until either I find one that does or they've come up with one that does. And often, this work is best done by ourselves. It's cool if we could get some support, but no one else knows what your better feeling thought is. Only you know. So it's worth getting good at that process, how to soothe yourself with improved self-talk. The reason that's powerful is because those thoughts, that's where our vibration comes from. Whatever we're focused on, that's what we're feeling. When we're focused in a way that is very contrary to what source or our inner being feels, then that thought's not going to feel fabulous. And that's a sign that you're thinking something that source does not agree with, or it doesn't see it that way. So I like that reminder that if I'm thinking a thought that doesn't feel good, that means my inner being, my true self, sees it differently. And that's a perspective worth looking for. How does my wise, higher self see this? Because when I think a thought that feels better, that means I'm more in alignment with that source perspective. And that one's always worth looking for, especially when you're not feeling fab. It's a sign you've deviated from that perspective. So soothing with better self-talk, it's a good skill. Third tip for how to feel better is to just give yourself a break. Like whatever you might have trouble enjoying, whatever might feel challenging, just give yourself a time out from it. You could take a little nap or meditate or just even a couple deep breaths. If you're red hot in it, you can't really leave the room. I love to go on a dog walk. It's miraculous how well that helps me. Sometimes even just deciding that I'm going on a dog walk, I feel better. I don't even have to actually be there. Just deciding that I'm going, I automatically feel relief. Whatever can help you break that spell on what you're not loving right now, do that. In fact, it's helpful to know what your go-to spell breaker activities are so you can engage them when you're feeling under fire. For me, dog walks are it. Even if I just let a cat sit on my lap, if I don't have time to actually get out of the house. That's a thought worth questioning though. I don't have time. It's one of those thoughts that probably doesn't help us feel better. Just being willing to change that can make the difference. So taking a break, remember the power of that. I know a lot of you are going to say something with water, whether it's a shower or a bath. What else dancing, music works for a lot of people. It's good to know what helps you just break the evil spell. Okay, fourth tip on how to feel better is to ask yourself, what would feel better in this red hot moment? What would give me relief right here and now? Your inner guidance knows how to feel better, and you can tap that wisdom by just asking the question and then listening for the answer. You know. can hear Harvey. He's got a cat trapped and he's barking at a cat under the furniture. I hope you can't hear it. Okay, so number 5 on my list is asking for help. I'm going to say this about Harvey and the cats. Whenever I go break that up, the cat will go run to a new spot, and if Harvey doesn't see where the cat ran to, the cat will come out, make sure Harvey sees him, and go run again. It's like they're playing a game together. I don't really have a cat in distress, in case you were concerned for them. Okay, 5th on my list is to, it's really funny, because I got some cats. All right, I'm not going to talk about Harvey and cats. 5th, this is a really, really good one, and we don't remember to do it very often, and that's to ask for help. It's to call on guides or angels, your higher self, loved ones, universe, God, whoever you like to call on your higher power, whoever you like to play with, and just ask them to help you feel better. Oh my gosh, this one is so powerful. Sometimes if I'm feeling really, really bad, I might have to repeat the request a time or two before I can feel it, but usually, like within seconds, I can feel peace wash over me. And maybe it's because I've done it enough that I expect it, but, you might not feel it instantly, but boy, we've got a huge resource available to us that I don't think we tap nearly often enough when it's that easy to just ask. I call on angels and I just say, angels, help me feel better. That's simple. I don't have a ritual for it other than just making the request out loud like that. Okay. But my point being with that one is that you don't have to do this alone. A lot of us forget that there's good help out there for us. And sometimes that help it doesn't just have to be like, help on the other side. It can be a friend or a family member or someone who's physically here and now with you in this experience that can help you feel better. Sometimes I'll call a friend and I'll say, tell me some good news. It's not me calling to say, hey, I need help feeling better, but he knows that's exactly why I'm calling. Tell me some good news. And he knows. He doesn't say, oh, what's wrong? Because he knows what I'm calling is for help shifting my perspective, to help break my thought train that isn't feeling super fab. And he's super reliable at it. And I do the same for him. We're both really good at it. So help can come in many forms. Just remember, you don't have to do this yourself. Hey, and if you have a coach, that's sometimes a cool thing too. I have to remind my clients that's what I'm for. Hello, email me. Just because it isn't time for our session doesn't mean I don't want to help. Okay, number 6 on my list is to set an intention. Sometimes the best way to feel better is to just decide to set an intention to do so. When you set that intention and then let it go, it's amazing how things are going to work out. So don't underestimate the power of just setting that intention to feel better. That's you using your own magic to shift how you're feeling. All right, number 7. That's to feel the feelings of what's up right now. And that might sound contradictory because when we're not feeling fabulous, a lot of people think if we let ourselves continue feeling those feelings, we're going to get stuck in them. But often that's exactly our ticket through it. Sometimes the way to feel better is to just let yourself feel bad first. I can sometimes tell when I'm having trouble shifting to a better feeling that, okay, I'm in this deep enough. I gotta own it. I gotta be present to it. And once I decide to, oh my gosh, it moves so fast. Like I could spend an hour trying to shake this bad feeling. And when I'm not having any luck with it, then I'm like, okay, just own it. And when I do, it's like it dispels instantly. It's so cool how that works. And that might not be the case for you depending on how much momentum you have built up around this feeling. But sometimes the only thing that's going to help us feel better is to be present to what we're feeling right here and now. I want to say that for anyone who has fears that if they let themselves feel this kind of bad that they're going to get stuck in it, let's just remember how it works when we resist something. What we resist persists. So to say yes to it, to embrace it, to allow ourselves to be present to it, that's often what breaks the spell on it. Okay, so I have other resources on how to feel your feelings. It doesn't seem like something that we should need a tutorial on, but a lot of us have we've developed habits of not feeling our feelings because they're kind of uncomfortable. Who is it that teaches that? Oh, Tom Stone. I can't remember the name of his program, but he did some work many, many years ago about basically teaching people how to feel their feelings, because he says most of the unhealthy habits we engage, he's not an LOA savvy guy, but I think this applies in our conscious creation work. This can be good stuff to know. He talks about how either overworking or overeating or, relying on shopping, there's a lot of behaviors we engage in that are designed to avoid feeling what we're feeling. And that instead, when we just learn how to feel our feelings, we can automatically release some of those unhealthy behaviors that might be causing not so pleasant effects in our life. So his tip for how to feel your feelings is basically he recommends, I said I wasn't going to do an episode on how to do this, but I know some teachers talk about just imagine that you're putting a straw wherever that feeling lives in your body. Imagine a straw going there and it's dissipating out through the straw. That's not a method that's ever really worked for me. Tom Stone talks about imagining finding where this body the sensation of this feeling lives in your body, and just focusing your awareness there to the very center, at the white hot center of it. And he says, just be present to it. And it often releases it. It completes itself within seconds or minutes. He said, if you've got a lot of buildup, if you haven't done this work for years, it might take a little longer than that, but it completes itself very quickly when we allow it to. I'm thinking about how, happiness, that's a feeling that most of us don't resist. And so we don't get stuck in it, like it completes itself very quickly. We move on from it very soon. And that the same thing happens with those negative feelings that we've been avoiding. When we stop avoiding them, just let yourself feel them. They'll complete themselves. Okay. I think it's worth mentioning that this whole process of feeling better, it works best when you're willing to let yourself feel good. Some people have either a habit of struggle or disappointment, or they just have a sense of unworthiness where they feel like they're supposed to be suffering that hinders any attempts to actually feel better. So be willing to feel better. That's worth remembering as you engage any of these processes for feeling better. And I just want to close this one up by saying, feeling better is easier than you think. Can you hear dogs right outside my door? They're so ready for me to come play with them. Feeling better, it's easier than we think. I might have made it sound complicated. Don't let it be. It's easier than we think. It's actually very natural. And it's the heart of the conscious creation game. So this is a good skill to have. Thanks for listening, everyone. Hope you got some good inspiration from it. In fact, if you'd like more inspiration from me, go to goodvibegift.com. And I don't know exactly what's up there right now, but my virtual assistant promises me there is a present waiting for you at goodvibegift.com. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Happy manifesting.